All right, we're live. What's going on, brother? How are you?
What's up, Phillyfill?
Welcome, guys. Late Night Green interview edition. Happy Thursday. We're back. We're doing some different technical things tonight. We don't have all the help that we normally have, so I'm going to be doing some of this over here. So if you see me like scooting around and being all fidgety, it's not because I'm not interested. It's just because I'm busy
And very talented.
Well, I would have to say yes to that.
We'll give you that.
Well, we appreciate it. But the show goes on, as they say, right?
No doubt.
And we've got a great show for everybody tonight. So I got introduced. I don't know how I came across. Someone said that you have to check out this person. And so I checked her out. And I'm like, Canna Boss Babes. What a name, right?
Man, that comes across strong.
Yeah, so hold on, let me turn this music down because as much as I can, let me turn this music down, guys. I can't do it while I'm on the fly here. All right, so there we go. And so I came across her and I did a little bit of research and I'm like, yes, I need to, this is somebody who needs to be on our show. And as you can see behind me, we have Ishqa Hillman, and she is the founder of Canna Boss Babes. Hang on one second, Ishqa. I'm going to bring you in here. Just having a little bit of a...
Yeah, what a lovely name. And unique spelling,
well,
too.
hang on,
like that.
Hang on, I don't think you can hear her yet either. Hang on one second. I can fix that while we're here. There we go. Say hi, Ishqa, while we get your picture up. How are you?
Hi, Ishqa. How is everybody? Hi. Thank you guys so much. You guys got the name right, too. I'm super impressed. That's something that doesn't always happen. So appreciate it. And yeah, unique name. The short Reader's Digest version I told for years was my parents were hippies, which that is definitely part of the truth.
Okay.
But I remembered a long time ago that as a girl, my mom always said that I appeared to her in a dream and I told her I am Ishqa. And so it's been an interesting part of my story is, you know, as a kid, hated the name, got teased a lot, but then really growing into what it is and how I am in the world. So
that's awesome. So let's show everybody you because I finally got to the part where we can show you. So hey, how are you? Yeah, so what we're going to do
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're doing absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put you right there, and then I am going to go ahead and put us back in here and try not to...
Oh, please, because that's a lot of me.
I apologize. This is moving a little slower than I want.
So we understand you're located on the West Coast?
Yes, I am. Yeah. I'm in Long Beach, California. Love my city.
Great.
All right, let's get to here, guys.
So how far are you from the beach? Not far?
Less than a mile. It's 0.9 miles.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
This bill is insane. This legislature legalized hemp 6 years ago, but instead of regulating this booming industry.
My apologies.
Are we getting into that later?
Well,
yeah,
we are
that's for later. That's for later.
That is
we can get into some. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll speak on that one later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, guys. I'm having like a little bit. Just work with me here. I apologize.
So is actually. I have to tell you, I admire the fuck out of you guys. First of all the content that you've put together is really impressive. That you're even doing this, like, I have to tell you, I laugh at being called a podcast, and then, of course, there's been a lot of other things since, because I'm a mom on her couch. So, like, I don't do the edits, I don't do the promos, I do cute marketing. Everyone gets a cute little promo marketing thing.
Right.
And then we go live, and that's it. And
I got you.
I have, a couple weeks ago, I, like, chased my cute little kitty because I heard them yelling in the other room and like ate shit in the middle of the interview. And sometimes that doesn't get edited out because that's life. So like what you're dealing with, I'm impressed. podcast. You're
Well,
good.
listen, this is real world. This is real world stuff. And so what? Yeah, just so like everybody knows, because we're pretty transparent here. So what's
we have
happening is,
moments.
so we've got a ghost riding situation in the control room. That means that we're in the studio. The control room is way over there. There's nobody there. I'm controlling the control room remotely on my setup here in front of me, which is not convenient because what I like to do during an interview is focus on you because you're here to tell us your story, and that's what we want to focus on. So, so bear with us. I think we're good. I think we're going to be good for now. I'm not going to deviate too far away from this screen because this has got all three of us on, and we can have a conversation. But when you're talking, I will go full screen with you, and feel free. So. Welcome to the show. Sorry about all the hubbub. And so, tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up? And give us a little bit about who you are. So as we talk about your journey, we kind of know where you came from.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Northern California in Petaluma, actually. And my home life was very chaotic. So, parents were divorced pretty young, and, my dad went to the city and my mom stayed in Petaluma. And I was always obsessed with the city as a kid. I always wanted to escape. Some of it was my mother and some of it was just
was it the allure,
the
allure of the city, Ishqa?
Oh, I was like always a nerdy kid. I love the architecture. I love the diversity. I loved going to Chinatown. I loved going to Oakland and the different neighborhoods and things. And my dad was always really good about teaching us things. He came from a family of artists. So like we'd go to the museums and we'd go to the galleries and we'd go to the Lawrence Hall of Science and we'd go to all these cool places on the week, Disneyland daddy. When you're a dad on the weekends, you can do that fun stuff. Yep. So he did that fun stuff. So I think that was definitely some of the appeal. But then I, my home was very chaotic. My mother and I just never had a good relationship. And so, unfortunately, I was abused by my family in every way by the time I was 5. So by the time I was 12, I ended up actually, and as fun as my dad was, he wasn't much of a parent. I ended up on the streets about 12 years old. And I would bounce on the Greyhound from Oakland down to Santa Cruz. So it would be like the Oakland, San Jose, Santa Cruz route. By the time I was 14, I was in a couple of group homes and juvenile halls. And so I finally got into a good group home when I was about 15 and a half. And I didn't even believe what was going to happen. I went in very, very cynical at a very young age. That starting over was possible, but really the people were amazing. Mom and Dad, love you. They're both gone now, but their names were Pat and Jean, and they said their names were Mom, but the girls called them Mom and Dad, and I couldn't remember which one was Pat and which one was Jean. So they were Mom and Dad right away, but it was hard to get me in the house. They were like
shout out to Pat and Jean. Shout out to Pat.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. All right.
So you made your way.
So I got like 2.5 years of a normal teenage childhood, and then Mom supposedly got medicated, and so I went home for my senior year because I was doing so good, and Mom was not so medicated. So I lived on my own my senior year. And then moved down here actually after that from Northern California. So I've been in Southern California almost 30 years.
Wow.
Which is wild.
That is wild.
I remember it before a lot of changes. And, ended up having my daughter on my own. She's 24 now, which is crazy.
Wow. Time moves very quickly, doesn't it?
It really does. And, and then in the effort of being a good mom and really wanting to be there for her and doing it on my own, I, took different jobs and I ended up working corporate and I ended up learning process and things. And I didn't do college because living on your own your senior year of high school is hard enough, and that was full of its struggles. So like I just went to work. And then,
what did you do? And tell us what you did. What did you go do?
Oh, I mean, well, when I first got down here, I was a nanny for years. So
Okay.
actually, some of those kids were all grown up and in their 30s. And actually, during the pandemic, one of them became a new mother and then also was diagnosed
Nice.
with breast cancer and started asking me about CBD and cannabis. And so this work helped me in her journey. After a year of treatment, she was cancer free. So that was really beautiful.
That's great news.
And also, as a young pastor's wife, is a really powerful advocate for the plant now too in communities that
Wow.
don't often get that education.
That's good. It's
So,
interesting. That's very cool. Very cool.
yeah, right, full circle stuff.
And so when did cannabis creep into your, well, I mean, I guess when did it creep into your personal life, and then when did it creep into becoming
Yeah.
something more than that in terms of your work?
So, I was a kid who smoked at like 12 and 13 because I was on the streets with a lot of other kids, and that's what you did out there. But it was always kind of too strong for me when I was younger, especially when you got a little bit older and were mixing alcohol with it. It was just like not really for me. Um, and so, but in my mid 30s, my trauma caught up with me. Like, even though I had, taken different corporate jobs and done other things and helped build other companies, I was struggling. I was still, I think, I was still operating from my traumas and not aware of them. Like no one had ever stopped to talk to me about my childhood. I just kind of,
Right.
once I got out of the group home, I was like, well, I'm good now and I can take care of myself now, and I've got my own apartment and these good jobs, and bought my daughter every set of the Barbies, the like Swan Lake, and like, so this is success. This is what this looks like. And I did all the things necessary to do that for so long that it finally caught up with me. And it caught up with me in areas that I didn't expect. It caught up with me in complex relationships with employers, and then also complex relationships with in partners as well. And I didn't realize it. And so in 2013, um, there were a lot of big shifts, and it led to me being so anxiety ridden. I started to develop social anxiety.
Mm.
And so at one point, it was 4 years actually before I um, went anywhere other than work and took my daughter to school. So the social anxiety got bad.
Yeah, that's a
Cannabis was the
tough thing
only
to
thing
deal
that
with.
helped.
I know a couple people have that. That's a very tough to deal with.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it
so
was hard. I lost a lot
Right.
of friends, a lot of people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just curious, what role did cannabis play? Did it cause any of it, or did it relieve any of it, or did it not play
No,
a fa-?
no. That's actually when I started using it more medicinally. That's when, about 2014, I hired this adorable little young lady at work for this company that I was helping to grow. And she had a good delivery guy, and he's still actually my delivery guy, and he owns one of the best dispensaries in town. So it's been fun to watch that progress.
Nice.
But
Evolution.
Right.
it really was. It really, yeah. And he also taught me about legislation. He was the first one to teach me how to really read the fine print and understand how it's written, and not to just vote yes for something because it says cannabis. And so Cliff, you were right.
Yeah,
Thanks
there
for
you
getting
go,
me
Cliff.
started,
Cliff, if you're watching, man, you're right.
On point.
Yeah. So Cliff had some really good stuff. Cliff still has good stuff. But I always laugh because I was started off smoking a pipe the size of my thumb. You guys know the little glass ones I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Yes,
And
we
I would
do.
take,
Yes, we
I
do.
swear, half a bowl at night, and that's all I needed to help like relax. And about 2, 3 weeks in, I always tell the story. It's because it was funny to me at the time, and that's when I exhaled, like really exhaled. And I laughed because I thought it was the funniest thing. And I was like, oh, we mean it's not just a movie? And like, how funny is that, right? Waiting to exhale. And I was like giggling and high. And then I realized how sad that actually was, that like I had held on to all this pressure. And, you know, I was also, well, about 80 pounds more than I am now. But at one point I lost 120 pounds total. And cannabis really helped with that too, because it helped me exhale and learn to be really present.
So what?
Rather than always in what's the next thing I need to do.
So what made you sad? Which made you sad is that you realized you could have fixed this sooner, or yeah, what made you sad? I'm just curious.
This filled a therapist now.
What made me sad was
Do you want to lay down? Do you want to lay down while we're talking?
No, I'm good.
Dr. Phil.
No, I'm great.
All right, good.
I mean, you know, it was. What made me sad was realizing that I had never exhaled before.
Ah, I see. I got you. I got you.
And so that's what helped me realize. And so cannabis helped me realize, hey, it's time to take care of you. And some of that was addressing some of the childhood stuff, and then how I was responding. At that point, I was still very much trying to like constantly mediate in my family and take care of them, even though they'd be like in other countries or hundreds of miles away, but I don't know why they all call me, and like constantly dealing with drama and things that just wasn't my own. And so so cannabis really helped me slow down at night, take a look at my life, take a look at where I was at, you know,
put yourself in the forefront.
All of me. Yeah. Like I was always of service before, and I'd get so caught up in being of service, including a mother, right?
But you weren't of service to yourself. I never really kind of slowed down. Well, because I just never even knew. And so that was also some of the things. So cannabis helped me, you know, start doing yin yoga, which was very helpful for me to get in touch and actually feel what's going on in my body. At one point when my daughter was 4 years old, I broke my foot, and I continued to walk around for 2.5 weeks on a broken foot in 6-inch heels before I got the x-ray even.
You're a trooper.
And then well, and I also, like, the abuse was really bad as a child, so my tolerance to pain is higher than others. So like I have to be more mindful of that. But, you know, that tells you like when you grow up that way, you don't know any different. And so the exhale for me was that first sign of there's another way to be.
Wow.
And it's not full of anxiety and full of all of that. So yeah, so cannabis really helped me do that work.
That's another win for
that I did.
Another win for medical marijuana.
And so was it that revelation, and during that time that you decided you were going to move forward with doing this from a professional perspective? Was that the point where that started?
Oh God, no, this was all an accident. No, this was a happy accident. I had no idea. That was years later. But so this is the funny thing is I just feel like, you know, because I was so grateful because of how cannabis helped guide me through just like a mind shift, right? I was very obsessed with, you know, I was growing this whole company at the time, and I grew them pretty quickly. And so I'm always reading Entrepreneur and Forbes, and I love business, and I love, like, you know, Simon Sinek and all the different, like, Patrick Lencioni, and, like, you know, I'm very nerdy. I love all my business gurus and how to really grow sustainable, ethical businesses. And I love operations. And so I was helping a company grow and reading all these things. And at night, the shift was really in my head going, hey, how do people go from survival mode to thriving? And just recognizing there's different mindsets for each. And so, like, survival. I like that view way better than looking at myself all the way.
We can do that. We'll do that in a second. But what I didn't do when I did that is I have to fix. Let's do that. Why don't we do that? Hang on, since you like that.
I'm like, that's the thing I was telling you guys. I was like, it's so funny to me that all of this, because like the social anxiety part, definitely. Well, you see me with my hands. I get nervous before every interview, even my own, even on my couch. Like, I get nervous too still. And so,
all right, hang on one second. Hang on one second. Hang on. You got it. Hang on one second. Put her here. And then
I started studying the
There we
different
go.
ideologies between people who are in survival mode versus thriving. And the first one for me was survival mode is failure is not an option, but people who thrive is there is no success without failure. So how do both of those things how are both of those things true? And I started looking at the different beliefs of other successful people and people that thrive and like the 1%, right? There was a lot of conversation around 2018 around the 1%, has been a lot since as well, but like really started doing that study of, different groups of people and how they live. And so myself included. And so that's kind of what led me. And so after a couple years of this work and also my daughter turning 18, I decided it was time to leave my old job and company because even though I had done so much there, I wanted to do a lot more. And I thought I was going to go do business consulting and work in juvenile halls. And on 7/10/2019, I had no idea what day it was as far as cannabis was concerned. At that point, I resigned from my job. And it was a big thing because actually they wanted me to stay another 2 years. We'd been talking about it. And I was just like, I can't anymore. So I resigned. 11 days later, 11 days later, I go to my first cannabis education night and I hear the term endocannabinoid system. And I got visuals, and it was prison bars with the doors opening and a golden cage in the door opening. And I just thought, what the fuck? Everybody deserves to know the truth. Like, this is a system in our bodies, and this plant is designed to help us manage all this. And, I had just finished. So I had joined a company in the architectural industry as an office manager, and they had 8 people, 6 figures, and you guys look great. And so I helped them grow to 6 figures to 5.8 million in less than 5 years with 3 locations and 30 employees in 2 states. So I do a lot of things, and I do them for other people.
So you're in business development? I heard you like operations.
I do.
Sounds like business development to me.
Yes, but it was all operational. So they ended up having me in 2018 fly to Utah every week for 5 months, and then every other for another 3, because we opened up a hub there. But when we got to Utah, people didn't have the skill set we needed. So then I had to go to the universities and the trade schools and the community colleges, and then also work with the government to create a program to get them to teach the students at least enough of the skill set for us to then take it from there and assess whether or not they could do the job. So like creating a work development program just to open an office there. It was not the original plan, but it's what needed to be done. So yeah, and while managing my office here. So
all right, multitasking.
Yeah.
I said you carry a full plate, Ishqa. You carry a very full plate.
I still do. That's the funny thing, but I really love it because now my plate is full of things that I really am passionate about. And that is helping other businesses and other entrepreneurs, especially in this space, because the reason why they do it is always very important and meaningful.
So why don't we before you do this, Ishqa, why don't you just tell everybody what is Canna Boss Babes? You can tell us when you started it exactly, because I'm still not 100% sure. But tell everybody what Canna Boss Babes. I love the name, and it might not be what you think it is right from it. You probably thought it was something else when you heard Canna Boss Babes right out of the gate.
Well, I know one thing for sure, and after talking to her, is boss.
Boss lady.
Boss. I like that.
Yeah, why don't Ishqa tell us?
Thank you. I'd love to know what you thought, though, first. Before I tell you, I'd love to know what the impression is out there.
Well, the first thing I thought it was some sort of maybe like a calendar or something like that. Like my first thing was somehow featuring women in some sort of glamorous way. But in reality, as I dig deeper, you are featuring women, but you're not featuring the physical glamour of them. What you're featuring is their talents and their skills and how it relates to the cannabis industry, right?
Yeah, yeah. And some of them are fucking gorgeous too and stunning and do calendars. And it's funny you mentioned calendar because I do have plans for one.
Yeah, let's go.
Mr. Todd, I'm sorry.
Can we be in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because men are
She's
babes
like, yeah.
too. That's
She's like,
part of the
there you go.
ethos.
all right, well, we're into
We'll
that.
be babes for a day.
Nah, it's hard to
Everyone's a
describe.
babe. That
Hard
is
to describe
what
you
we
as a
say.
babe, brother.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah.
No, men are babes too. That's what it is. So to me, the Canna Boss Babes, the name itself breaks stigma. A lot of people sit there and like to say lazy stoner, and we are anything but. And so and it's not just women. Men are babes too. Like, and that was important to me at that time. So 7/10/2019, I quit my job. September 27th, 2019 was my last day. November
Oops.
is hoping to find women's groups, did not. But I met a lot of individual people that really wanted to have their own business. And a lot of them at the beginning were women who were talking about the boys have their boys club. It's hard. How do I do this and raise my families? And so even though I was new, I found myself in this odd position of they didn't know each other. So then I just was like, oh, well, you need you and you and you and you and you. And then I was like, well, let's have an event. And then I was aligned with some really amazing men too. And so one of them is Adam Mine. He runs Canatech Network. He is just hashtag good people all the way through, and
what's
about
he
being
do?
a good human.
Tell us what he does.
He runs a lot of IT. So he actually even helped like with the first cookies dispensary and make sure that a lot of the IT and different infrastructure is set up. Adam's great. He's a good person. And so I met him, and yeah, for sure. For sure. And so he introduced me. He says, hey, I have a friend who does events and he really could use your help. And so then I met Rico Lamite, and Rico is my brother from another mother. I am Zonti to his Zora. My daughter's name is Cora. His is Zora. It's a coincidence.
He's on High at 9, is he not? High at 9 News?
He is known for being on High at 9 News. But back in 2019, he was running monthly Canna Gather meetings, which were big conferences that had all the big industry people come in and speak, and other people listen to them in Orange County and LA. And then also CBD Sundays in Orange County and LA, where, we'd be turning up on the weekends and having people come, chefs come and have a good time. But it also was like really good networking because, again, it was a way for our people to be able to find each other, support each other, and do business together. And so I was in this unique position of also at the same time meeting other people in my community, because I had immediately volunteered for the organization that hosted the event where I learned endocannabinoid system. I was like, I need to learn everything. I signed up for a physician symposium and sat one Saturday when I was still working and learned things I did not have any idea, any understanding. They were saying all kinds of things I was learning for the first time. There's just so much about this plant.
But you're a better person for doing it. You're a better person for doing it.
Oh my God. It's my favorite thing in the world is to be able to go and learn. Like, I recently went to a farm up in Oxnard, Raw Garden, who they do things like everything is about sustainability. They do their own testing before it even gets to the lab. Like the way that, and then they're really working with nature. They're working with other local farms where they even help pay the rent to the farm next to them in order to be able to have their farm be organic in 3 years and make sure that pesticides don't make it to the cannabis, and just, they also have an amazing seed library that might be the largest in the United States. Like, it's really impressive, the details and the time that they're willing to commit to what's truly non-billable at this point in this industry, especially with taxes being what they are in this country, in the state and in particular. So it's rare to find companies like that. They also invested in their manufacturing plant to be able to have zero emissions. So they paid extra to have this whole thing that like burns off any of the emissions, where it takes it back in and burns it off at a whole other process to make sure that nothing goes into the environment. So
So how big is your
Yeah.
network? You have a network of other business people and businesses in the same cannabis industry. Is it, local to your town, statewide, countrywide,
Oh no, all over.
all over?
I was really blessed. I just did an event in Hudson, New York. So I am all over. My network is global. I talked to my friend Mel from Jamaica on Monday. I've got babes all over the world. Like in Spain, in Germany, in India. India, apparently the Canna Boss Babes are a thing in India and people really love it. I think it's so funny. But my dreams
Nice.
actually someday to be able to have a map of the world where I can show a timeline of when cannabis was criminalized and the tools that they used in each country, and then where we are at in the decriminalization of it, and what tools again are used to help with that. Because I'm just fascinated by that. We talk here a lot in the U.S. as though it started here, but it really didn't. And when Henry Anslinger was a child, it actually was when it was criminalized in India. So there's just a lot that we don't know still. And I think it's important to see the full picture and not just look at it in silos.
So, I mean, the question you asked is great. So, give us an array of the different services and the different providers that you represent with Cannaboss. But give us, because we just recently had the Can Astrologer here, who I believe is.
I know.
You know the Can Astrologer?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually very good friends, and her services are actually, she's one of the first babes to take advantage of the Canna Boss Babes as a website to help promote other businesses. She has, I think, 12 readings up on the website. So if anyone's looking for readings, that's another place that they can go and book her. We've got photographers, influencers. I've got real estate people. I've got investment people. I have seed people. I have a ton of media people. I'm fortunate where I build relationships. I really enjoy people and I really want to help support them. And that's what I'm here to do. And so I've been doing it now for almost 6 years. This November will be 6 years. And I've been really blessed. Like I geek out on who my friends are and who I have conversations with on a regular basis. Like, what is my life? My daughter and I, the first year and a half of this, I would come home at like sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning, and she was the teenager and the 21-year-old and stuff, right? Like we're like, what's happening here? This is opposite, like Freaky Friday stuff. And she's like, what is your life? Especially because so much of her middle school and high school years, I was so reclusive, right? So, I mean, I went from nothing to this all of a sudden, and we're and it's weird. I'm not comfortable on camera. I've learned to just accept that that's a part of it, of like, I don't care. Like people are always like, oh, take a picture and here, do you want to see? I was like, nope, you caught me that way, I'm too old to give a shit. So I just don't like, that's not it. It's content. Like I just don't, yeah.
One thing I'm seeing at in this cannabis journey, the amount of women, intelligent, innovative women, pushing everything forward. Look at all the interviews we're doing. Smart, talented,
That's right.
and doing things that mean something.
But here's what I want to know. Like, so with all that said, because we try to feature women in the cannabis space for sure, 100%. And it's not like we steer in one way direction. We want to bring in the best guests that we can bring in. It just so happens that a lot of them are women.
Yeah.
But then when we look at the channel and who watches our show, 96% men. So it's 96% men. So why do you think, and maybe you know, maybe you don't, but why do you think women don't consume cannabis content the way men do?
Oh, are you kidding? We do. We just consume each other's. Yeah.
Oh, so we need to get a woman on the show.
We need Canna Boss Babes on set here. Yes, we do.
We're going to get some local babes. Local cannabis boss.
See, what Ishqa doesn't know already is she doesn't know about the 3 or 4 conversations we're going to have after this show.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I am already being called back to the East Coast. I actually had a phone call with a woman who's opening a dispensary in New Jersey, and she asked if I'd come and help with her grand opening. So I'm really excited for that. Hudson was
when
a
is that?
wonderful
When is
event.
that? Because that's when you and I are going to meet in person.
Okay, good. I don't know when that is yet. I told her to talk to construction, get a timeline this week, and then add 50%. Right?
Okay.
That would be great.
Construction.
Yeah, you got to add a little bit to that. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So you know, is that North Jersey or South Jersey?
It is in Maywood, New Jersey. I don't know exactly where that is. So
you know what?
I just know it's in Maywood.
I grew up in Jersey. I haven't heard
of Maywood,
but we'll find out.
Yeah. Okay.
There's Wildwood,
but yeah, she's okay. I don't know.
Well,
I just thought it was so interesting, and then. Unrelated, but also last week, I ended up joining the New Jersey Cannabis Chamber of Commerce by way of helping them with their email newsletters. So it was Jersey's calling. I don't know what's going on. Jersey's calling.
Yeah, stretched all over the place.
Well, I mean, Jersey's on the newer side of things, right? And everyone's pushing the envelope. We know high roller dispensaries, and they have basically what's going to be, and once they allow them to open, is the first smoking lounge on the East Coast, as far as we know.
Awesome.
And so, but everything's moving fast. Nothing's happening the way that they say it's going to happen. He's waiting for final approval to open a lounge that they spent a whole lot of money to do. And so it's kind of, it's kind of moving fast, but it's kind of not at the same time. Yeah. I think they wanted to move fast.
It was passed and then a 2-year pause, right?
Yeah.
Like it passed and everyone got all excited and then nothing for 2 years. And it's just now starting to creep. It's interesting because I think it's designed that way, guys. Definitely some, looking at what's happened here in California and even just how long it took the average business to open, especially when we were first getting started in 2018, it was 18 to 36 months between, local zoning, finding real estate, getting your license, and then Southern California Edison, because the electric company's not your fucking friend either. So.
Yep.
So just getting on the grid is tough.
I mean, yeah. And it's designed so that way, because you have to have your property here. You had to have your property in order to get a license. It's designed to suck all your rent money and all your investment money dry before you even open business. Think about that. Paying that kind of rent, which the landlords back then were charging 5 times more if it was cannabis, right? So charging that kind of rent, right, exactly. For 36 months, you can't, for 3 years, you can't even open. You're just paying rent.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You hear that's the
nuts.
struggle.
That's
and
nuts.
Then anyone that sat there and got their equipment early and was paying rent on equipment and your building, and you can't sell anything yet, it's intentional.
Yeah. No doubt. So, Ishqa, what I have is I have some highlights from your website. I'm going to throw those up for a second, if I could, and tell us what we're looking at right here: helping people and businesses grow. Hold on a second. Hold on, Ishqa. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Sure.
Go ahead. Now you can go.
Okay. So I help a lot of different people with a lot of different ways. Because of my skill set, I've done design work forever, marketing forever, HR, operations, help build customer service. And my brain, cannabis slows me down, guys. I'm productive because it'll slow me down enough to hyper focus and get into something. I love a good indica when I work. But I also am one of those people where I don't do no. No is like a not with you or not right now or not that way. and so I have the ability to help different businesses grow in whatever they need to. Right now, I'm working with a young woman who has a brand ambassador business that she just kind of stumbled into, but is starting to expand. And so she needed real operation. She also needed to be compliant. So I've helped her rebuild that and build automation and onboarding and flows. And I mean, everything that, because these girls are out here hustling. These people are out here hustling, and they build things sometimes without knowing the right way to build it in order for it to truly be a business that's sustainable. Including my favorite thing to do, and what they all resist at first, is the spreadsheet. We get it all in the spreadsheet because they think they know it works and that the numbers work and that they've done them. But like, the spreadsheet don't lie, like right. It's important to actually look at your business and look at all of your expenses and what your true cost of goods are and how much money you need to be putting aside. Especially if you're a 1099 or if you have your self income, like it's, and a lot of these, because the cannabis industry is still growing and because we don't have the funding that we need as an industry, a lot of these companies are also not necessarily paying people the way they should. And so it's important that these young women who are so excited, and young men too, right? Anyone that wants to get in the cannabis industry, if you do it as a 1099, you need to know that ain't tax-free money.
That's right.
That's right. But
and they don't know some of
you're right.
Some of it's true. If you don't see it,
I mean, I've watched videos on TikTok where they sit there in their car going, "I just got my first paycheck and I cannot believe that they took some of my money out of it."
Oh yeah.
And like someone had explained to them that's taxes, and then they have to do like a little bit of research, and then they come to the conclusion. They go, "That's not fair."
I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say he didn't matriculate.
I feel like that's actually better than these 1099, especially, I feel like there's a lot of young single moms in this industry and they end up becoming brand ambassadors, and that's not a full-time job anywhere. So they do it as independent contractors without realizing what that means at the end of the year when you do your taxes. Mm-hmm. And then they find out, and it's really rude. And that's actually damaging as a single mom. So because I did the single mom thing so many years, I told my girlfriend, I will totally help you with this. But we're also going to build in a program for these girls to be able to learn how to manage their business then, right? And that is they submit their own invoices, which is what she should be doing anyway. We got them on bill.com. Everybody's happy because they're also getting ACH payments now. Like there's efficiencies. And then I'm nerdy. I was also an IT manager in my past life as well. So like I make sure that we implement, technology to be able to help run efficiently. I like running lean. In this industry, there's too much overhead that goes to taxes. So, in order to be able to help out as an ancillary service, I got to have my money straight too. So I just try to teach these girls how to really run and build their business sustainably.
Well, what haven't you done? You sound like a whole business, the whole entity.
Oh,
the total package.
I mean, there's a lot I haven't done. Thank you for that. I didn't go to college, so I don't even, sometimes I feel like, people in the society value that degree so much, so then they don't even get to find out what I really can do. So I feel like in a way, like
I think that's
if I talk to you,
listen,
you are a walking degree.
I mean, Ishqa, I think that's how it kind of used to be. I don't necessarily think that's
things change a little bit.
How much it is today. I think people,
it's different in our industry.
Like there was a time and point where you had tattoos, if you couldn't show them, or you wouldn't even get a fucking job, and now it's no big deal. So like times have changed. Times have changed. All right, so here's what I want to do, Ishqa. I want to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I want to pretend that Todd is a potential Canna babe. And I want you to tell him if he were to be in theory a Canna babe, what would he need to do to get started to work with you? That's what I'd like to hear him make his pitch to you, and for you to tell him what I
need to do to get there.
That's right. Is that something you good with that?
Okay, I love it.
All right.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we're going to try it. We'll see what happens. We'll be back right after this.
So many dispensaries have resorted to a bland, impersonal shopping experience, where you often don't even get to see a sample of the cannabis you're planning on purchasing before you buy it. If you're looking for that extra personal touch, come check out High Roller Dispensary in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Our staff are avid cannabis connoisseurs who are sure to help you find the strains that fit you best. Whether you're looking for premium flower, edibles, concentrates, or tinctures, we have you covered with over 100 different strains to choose from, all of which are able to be seen, smelled, and thoroughly examined in our elegant showroom. If you're in a rush, we offer a seamless online ordering system that allows for in-depth exploration of all that we have to offer. So whether you're a novice or a seasoned stoner, be sure to stop by High Roller Dispensary and we'll make sure you're floating on cloud 9 by the time you leave.
Marijuana is huge.
Hey, I'm OG Ganja Goddess, and you're watching Cough Country TV. Peace.
This is Chef Marvin Jane, and you're watching Cough Country TV, live from New York.
Right around here, 15 inches, maybe if you're younger, you go up to 19 inches, you know? Yeah, you know, you already went the big end.
Sometimes a CIO might make commitments to a CEO that they just can't fulfill, and it's very hard to succeed in those environments. You really want to be able to set the expectation right up front.
How would you feel with no sex, no weed for a month or two? I'm going to be really angry.
I feel sorry for Jake.
Yeah, Jake's going to get fucked up.
Wow, this is
yeah, Phil. Yeah, for
this is all you. This is the Cough Country OG pink hoodie.
In terms of marijuana, I think it should happen.
All right. And we are back, and so is Ishqa. We've got with us Ishqa Hillman. She is the founder of Canna Boss Babes, and she is here tonight telling us about her journey as well as her current business adventure, basically, and some of the stuff that she does to help entrepreneurs, many times female, in this cannabis world. And I think it's pretty cool.
It's great, and I'm sure she has a lot more things on the horizon.
I bet you she does. Well, what we can do is we'll end the show with that. How's that? We'll end the show with what's on the horizon for Ishqa. But right now, what I want to do is I want to pretend that you are a Canna Boss babe, and that you just met Ishqa, and that you want her representation.
Yeah, Ishqa. So I'm new to the cannabis industry. And I know a lot of these companies out here is very competitive on the dispensary end and also on the product end. So I'm interested in marketing products for these companies to get to the end user, to get to the stores. What would you suggest? Where should I start?
Okay, so where are your strengths and what's your experience in doing that so far?
Well,
what have you tried?
So my strengths is, one-on-one communication with people, being enthusiastic about things, and, just trying to get people interested in what I'm trying to sell.
Okay. And what are your deliverables?
So what I do is I try to increase people's volume of sales and have a way to record that. So I'm trying to increase people's sales and have them use me, as a marketer of their products.
Okay. and what does your platform look like for that? So because dispensary owners and brands are very, they want to be able to know what the ROI is going to be. So what does your platform currently look like for you to be able to offer that value to them?
Well, I have a website pertaining to marketing in the cannabis industry, and so I have multiple type of people in the industry who are looking, well, I hope are looking for me to help them with the, increase their value.
Okay, and what does that web traffic look like? How's your SEO?
Right now, I'm struggling a little bit with trying to get enough people on board for me to help represent them. So what
so then how are LinkedIn? I would highly recommend LinkedIn as far as being able to get you in touch with decision makers and the people in charge of the money, right? So like that's going to be a place that you can build up more traffic. I would definitely advise building up your following there and connections. Especially if your website is a little on the light side. You want to be able to take advantage of the different social media platforms. And because you're talking about marketing, sales, and professional services, LinkedIn's where you'd want to be.
Okay. And what person should I target at these companies? What position should I be looking at? Somebody in their marketing department? Someone in operations? The owner
Yes,
of the
but
company?
I think it's really important. I mean, it's important that you have your pitch down first. So you'd want to be able to look at like, what is your offerings and how do you want to go about doing it? And then you probably want to adjust it depending on who you're talking to as well. So I would have something like that ready to go. Don't make it look too scripty. If you use ChatGPT, that's fine, but make sure you're the editor, not it. Because it's like a third grader, so don't do that. And then it's not just about immediately going into their DMs either. That's actually not a very good sales tactic. It's more about building a relationship with them online. So the same way that you said your strengths are building relationships in person, it's about being able to go and find the different groups where the people that you want to, your target demographic exist and are interacting, and then being able to interact with them, comment a few times on some of their posts for a week or two. It's a little bit of a longer game, but it's a stronger relationship building game, which because you're good at building relationships. So,
I'm going to hop in here because what's really interesting, because this is the kind of conversation that you would have with someone if they were to call you up in a situation. So you're going to be asking these type of questions. So I think there's some things to learn from it.
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
There's people here who can help, but you've got to be prepared. You've got to have your stuff straight. You've got to have all the answers. She's asked.
Yeah, you got to be on point when you're on the spot.
She asked you all kinds of questions.
So to get a better reach,
or
it
if
sounds
you don't
like
have
joining,
that, then I teach them how to get there.
Right.
Well, it sounds like joining a community such as Canna Boss Babes would be one way for exposure and building those relationships.
Right. Yeah.
So
yes, and that is
type
what
of community.
That is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I do a lot of my content online and on my page. Is more promoting other people than myself. That's why I've always kind of balked at being called an influencer. I was like, I'm an advocate. I don't take enough selfies.
That is a stigma.
And no shade. I love my influencers. They do a lot of advocacy and amazing work too. Like they're very important for the space because they are just amazing and people follow them and we need all the voices.
Yeah,
but,
everyone has their lane, but
like
you're more than
Right
that.
on, right on.
Yeah.
So let's do this, Ishqa. Why don't we kind of wrap things up for this part of the interview, and then we're going to do a late night show. So guys, we are going to jump off for a few, get things reset, get ourselves quickly reset, and then we'll come back for a late night show. We've got some few things to go over tonight that, some fun things, some stories that we should talk about. I believe you're going to join us, so we're going to get your take on some of these stories that are going on. So we're excited about that as well. But before we wrap up the interview, what is up next? What's on the horizon, as Todd indicated just a minute ago? What's up next for you? Like, what do you see happening for you and your network over the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, a couple of years, a lot of different things. Right now, I actually yesterday found out that the Canna Boss Babes is a finalist in the Green State Consumers Choice Awards, which was amazing because I was a write-in. So really excited for that.
Congratulations on that. Congrats on that. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, up there with Sarah Pyan and Beard Bros. Like I was like, Bill,
that's wonderful.
What? Like,
that's awesome.
I feel blessed to be friends with people like that, but to be nominated alongside, like I said, y'all.
Good for you.
I'm a mom. There's my couch. You know, like I so it's just been a big blessing to do any of this work, and yeah,
it's very fulfilling because you know you're at an early stage of an industry. You've got a lot of people who need direction. It's fulfilling because what you're representing is a benefit to most people. It is a medicine. It is healing. It is helpful. It's you know, God put this on this planet for a reason. I can't imagine that it's here to do anything other than help, because that's what the results of it says. Right. So, what a service that you're providing. I think the female entrepreneur cannabis entrepreneur community, I really think is pretty awesome. Todd and I want to be Canna Boss Babes as well. I mean, Todd might not.
Well, you are.
Well, I'm glad we are.
Phil might be a little cuter.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that. And listen, I'm just happy. I'm happy.
It's about the work.
Yeah, listen, I'm happy.
It's about the work that we do.
It is about the work we do, and it's not about the nonsensical things that I say. But I was just happy that we weren't penalized because you're not a babe. And that we could still be babes, even though you're not one.
Man, I'm a babe.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, that's a big nope. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get us set up. While I get us set up, why don't you tell everybody if they would like to get a hold of you, to talk to you, to learn more. Perhaps they want to be a Canna Boss babe themselves, like the Todd father. How would they go about getting a hold of you?
Well, I mean, definitely the website, the Canna Boss Babes, Instagram at the Canna Boss Babes, or Ishqa the Boss Babe. And in person, if you come out to MJ BizCon, we've got a corner suite at the Cosmo, and are planning another of our big in-person content creation events as well. I'm doing that in partnership with Kelly Riddle and the Canna Joint. And so, yeah, like there's a lot of ways. I'm also, my Babes in the Bay this year is an annual event I usually do. I'm postponing it because, militia on the streets. But I do still have planned a compassion event with the nonprofit that I helped found 6 years ago now too. So doing a few things. There's a lot of different ways people can get involved and get support, or in a lot of ways.
Awesome.
I feel like you're going to make me volunteer for something.
Oh my God, would you like to?
Yeah. Listen, Ishqa, get it in writing, man, because you got to make sure that he does what he says he's going to do, man.
Look, like the compassion programs here in California have been really fading fast, and even just getting people to post and share about it is a form of volunteering. Like there's really, and that's the least that we can do. So,
right on.
I take that as work too.
Awesome.
There you go.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to end this interview. We appreciate Ishqa being here. She's going to join us on the late night show. We'll be back in give us about 20 minutes to reset this whole thing. We'll be back for the late night show. She'll join us. We've got some stories. If you guys haven't liked us yet, give us a like, subscribe, follow, put the bell on, and we'll see you guys next time for another interview series.
Holla at you soon.
And if you guys want to party and hang out and have some fun, join us in about 20 minutes. We'll see you guys later. Ishqa, thank you. We'll see you in a few minutes. And
see you soon.
All right, you got it, guys. Take care.